Okay.
Roll call for the City Council meeting of Wednesday, February 19th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. Members Witherspoon, Brzezinski, Flores, Nelson, Schaaf, Troop. Titus is absent.
Okay. Do we have any remembrance?
Did you want to mention the gentleman that we lost from the city?
Yes.
Okay,
Go
go.
ahead.
Oh, you want me to?
Yes,
Okay,
please.
I don't mind. I would like to take a moment of silence and remember a gentleman. His name was Mark Urban. He has worked with the city since 2003. He has passed away, and I wanted to send our sympathies to his family and send our thoughts and prayers. He worked in the radio division, so we would just like to remember this gentleman, Mark Urban, who has passed away, and send our thoughts and prayers to his family. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. President?
Mr.
Yeah, a little over 4 months ago, I made a statement of sympathy and regret. Patricia Maloney Fiorelli passed away this past week. Her husband, Ray Fiorelli, lifetime teacher, administrator in the district. Ray was one of the guys, one of the few people that you never heard anybody complain about. He was a day-by-day guy, and he worked for everybody. Everybody was the same. He's going to be missed terribly by his boys. It happened kind of suddenly. Rest in peace, Ray. We love you, and we love the kids. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to thank many citizens and my colleagues and the administration as well for the get well notifications that I received, email, texts, cards, etc., during my absence and illness. And I appreciate that very much. And also prayers go out to our council person, my vice president, Dr. Titus, who's fighting a flu right now, and we ask that prayers go out to him as well. Moment of silence right now. Thank you very much. Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I have a motion to accept the minutes from the February 5th, 2025 City Council meeting and bills for payment on February 21st and 28th. Members Brzezinski, Flores, Nelson, Schaaf, Troop, and Witherspoon.
Public comments? Anyone to make any public comments at this time?
Repository.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yes, let me do one thing. Are there any repository sales? Are there any repository sales? Are there any repository sales? Hearing none, public comments. You can come up now, sir. Yes.
I'm Gary Lackey. I brought a piece of a document there that we laid on your desk so that you could take it home with you. It came up last month. I was hoping to share a thought from the throne, a thought from God that I felt like was for our city. And so this seemed like an appropriate place to spill it, but I only have 3 minutes here, so I went home and did the homework, and I got 5, okay. Well, anyways, I went home and did the homework of trying to get out of what was rattling around in me onto paper, and what you're seeing there is when I got tired of trying to edit and rewrite it and edit and rewrite it, and because I'm not a professional writer, but I've written a lot of these booklets in the past over things that I felt like God was talking to me about. And I got real, compelled once I began to come to the council meetings last year over the bike path issues. And then on this last year, I heard you guys talking about the budget shortfall that's coming. That had me concerned. So, and also the Act 47, potential that looms out there. And then the interest in a new government, possibly. And I understand that's all tabled. But at any rate, it's the book of Daniel. If you get in and dig into it like I did, because that was what came to me when I started hearing about the rumblings in our city. And the book of Daniel's full of input from heaven to the government of men, both from the day in which Daniel lived, some 3,500 years ago, right up until today. And the pictures on the booklet that I put together, show that the image of history since Daniel's day down to our day. And on this inside, I found a rock and put it in there, and that's the imagery that I would love to leave us with as to what happens to the governments of men at the end of this era or age. Is there's a new kingdom set up from heaven, and it comes and smashes that statue to bits. If you read the story, you'll see it in there. At any rate, my hope is that we wouldn't just be trying to build with what's available to most of us these days, which is the iron and clay. I mentioned it the last time. I remember Mr. Troop bringing up that he had, stuck on him that we have clay and we have iron among us. And I would love for us to have the stone among us and in us to build this city that would need the input of the King from heaven, who's Jesus, the stone, whom the builders rejected. And his kingdom came to earth invisibly, as it points out on this little booklet. It came invisibly, but it can be accessed in our world, by our lives now. And at the end of this era, of course, he comes literally again and changes the governments of the earth. And so there is a kingdom coming that we can all trust in down the road. But for now, we've got to find our way in our city. And the best things that we have that we can build with are from him. And so I've just hoped that, my prayer that, if you guys would look into this a little bit and see if the God from heaven who spoke through Daniel and to Nebuchadnezzar, the king of his day, could also speak to your hearts and lives even in this coming year. So that will be my prayer as we carry out, this from this day forward. I don't know. I know there's many of you are going to move about a bit, at least go some different positions. And I saw Ed on the news the other night, and I saw Chuck was running for a controller, and I know there's going to be some people coming to our brunch at Green Garden Boulevard, vying for the office of the mayor, and another council person's going to come and speak with our brunch. So I know there's several things that are lying out in this year, and I would love to see each of us grab hold of what's available from heaven and put it to use in our city to build the stone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any other citizens to be heard? Are there any other citizens to be heard? Are there any other citizens to be heard? Hearing none, City Clerk.
Ordinances for final passage. Council File Number 16500, Official Ordinance 11-2025, an ordinance appropriating a sum of $15,000 from unappropriated and unanticipated revenue for the expenditure thereof. The contribution is from the Mercy Terrace Apartments for use by the Bureau of Police, Fire, and Streets. Sponsored by Councilmember Schaaf, seconded by Councilmember Troop. The Council File Ordinance Bill Number 16500, and now known as Official File Ordinance 11-2025, be finally passed by City Council. Members Brzezinski, Flores, Nelson, Schaaf, Troop, and Witherspoon. City Council pass official file ordinance 11/2025 finally by yea 6, nay 0. Council file number 16501, official ordinance 12/2025, an ordinance appropriating the sum of $200,000 from unappropriated and anticipated revenue to be received from Pennsylvania State 902 Recycling Grant and providing for the expenditure thereof. Sponsored by Councilmember Schaaf, seconded by Councilmember Flores, that Council file ordinance Bill number 16501, and now known as official file ordinance 12/2025, be finally passed by City Council. Members Brzezinski, Flores, Nelson, Schaaf, Troop, and Witherspoon. City Council passed official file ordinance 12/2025 finally by yea 6, nay 0. Council file number 16502, an ordinance appropriating the sum of $40,000 from unappropriated and unanticipated revenue for the expenditure thereof. This contribution is from the Erie Insurance for use by the Bureau of Police. Sponsored by Councilmember Schaaf, seconded by Councilmember Brzezinski. The Council file ordinance number 16502 have been read as hereby adopted on first reading by City Council. Members Brzezinski, Flores, Nelson, Schaaf, Troop, and Witherspoon. City Council read and adopt Council file ordinance 16502 by yea 6, nay 0 on first reading. Council file number 16503, an ordinance appropriating the sum of $127,000 from unappropriated and unanticipated revenue for the expenditure thereof, a police crisis communication vehicle through a $127,000 grant from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, acting through the Department of Community and Economic Development. Sponsored by Councilmember Schaaf, seconded by Councilmember Brzezinski. The Council file ordinance number 16503 have been read as hereby adopted on first reading by City Council. Members Brzezinski, Flores, Nelson, Schaaf, Troop, and Witherspoon. City Council read and adopt Council file ordinance 16503 by yea 6, nay 0 on first reading. Council file number 16504, an ordinance appropriating the editing and inclusion of certain ordinances as parts of the various components, codes of the codified ordinances of Erie, Pennsylvania. Sponsored by Councilmember Witherspoon, seconded by Councilmember Flores. The Council file ordinance number 16504 have been read as hereby adopted on first reading by City Council. Members Brzezinski, Flores, Nelson, Schaaf, Troop, and Witherspoon. City Council read and adopt Council file ordinance 16504 by yea 6, nay 0 on first reading. Council file number 16505, an ordinance appropriating the sum of $50,000 from unappropriated and unanticipated revenue to be received from a Community Partnerships Program grant administered by the Pennsylvania Department of Conservation and Natural Resources, DCNR, and providing for the expenditure thereof. Sponsored by Councilmember Flores, seconded by Councilmember Nelson. The Council file ordinance number 16505 having been read is hereby adopted on first reading by City Council. Members Brzezinski, Nelson, Schaaf, Troop, and Witherspoon. City Council read and adopt Council file ordinance 16505 by yea 6, nay 0 on first reading. Council President, this takes us to new business.
Motion to move the balance.
Second.
Been moved and second.
Any separations?
Good.
No separations.
No separations. Moving the balance of the agenda, members Brzezinski, Flores, Nelson, Schaaf, Troop, and Witherspoon. Council President, this takes us to committee reports.
Okay, we'll start with Councilwoman Cathy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was going to go and get my phone so I could read something, but I'm going to pass because I need to get cheaters to read a little bit closely. So thank you for people who are coming out tonight. It's so cold, and at least it's nice and cozy in here. So thank you for being civic-minded and getting involved. Today I went to the career day that was hosted at Erie High, and it was in their gymnasium, and I was so impressed with all of the remodeling going on. And I got to walk around and talk to the students as well as the people at the booths. And back in my day, I don't remember going to any kind of career day. So I think it's so awesome that students have that right at their school. They don't have to go anywhere. It's an opportunity for them. They were represented by the service trade and the different unions that have like painters and plumbing, the steam fitters, and all different kinds of jobs that people might get interested in. The Blue Coats were there, and they talked to me about their program. The police were there, and I was just so impressed overall. Thank you, Shatiria Franklin, for the invitation. So thank you, Mr. President, for going to the tow review board for me as I was unable to attend. The Water Authority meeting is tomorrow at 3:30 down at the Bayfront there, and they always have public comment time just like we do here. So anyone who has anything to talk about, they're able to address that at the very beginning of their meetings as well. The Erie Redevelopment Authority had a meeting that I watched online. I think, Mr. Nelson, I saw you in the crowd there, in attendance. That, they're doing great things, and I listened to their presentation last Friday. So hopefully the government will give a nice size of money to pass out at CDBG time. It's all a wait and see. I'm terribly sad about this weather being such a cold winter when there's so many people in need and having housing issues. And people are still telling me that they're having issues and housing concerns. I think it would be awesome if there would be but if there was a place where people could go and maybe they could exercise, maybe they could watch TV, and just sort of be a part of having a warm space, other than the library, and for the daytime. We need something during the daytime. We have the upper room, but it needs to be bigger, so people can move around, and I think there was years ago, there was supposed to be something, but anyways, so that's a big need. Talked about the area in this downtown corridor on State Street about, becoming a National Historic District is wonderful. Bring all the people downtown. But Thank you. I'll cut it short. I'm done.
Oh, you did?
We don't believe you.
Mr. President, I have no report today.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's been kind of a long day. We started at 10 o'clock with the Port Authority. The Port Authority, of course, is the big thing going on right now, is that 125, 135 acres of the coke plant. We were privy with the folks this morning, and they asked us pretty deep questions as far as our feelings about what's going to happen with that coke. Not specifically, but the importance of it. And when we talk about transformation, that can change an entire city. All of a sudden, the east side is back in play because we have something that can really be beautiful. So the planning, they have to clean it up. They have to get money to clean it up. And actually, we couldn't be in two places tonight. They're over at the old East High School, talking to the folks in that neighborhood, asking for input from them, what they would like to see, what the problems they're having now, that type of thing. And they're meeting tomorrow at the Tech, is that in 14th Estate, the Technology Center? Yeah, they're meeting there tomorrow. So they're trying to gather as much real information so that as we go forward, we're not going to leave anybody behind. Yeah, they, the more input we get from all sections of the city, the better off we're going to have with the plan. It's not going to be overnight. There's a whole lot of cleaning up to do. They were there for a couple hundred years, so they got the place pretty dirty with the coke. But it's an exciting, exciting time, especially for younger folks. It's going to be a rebirth in a lot of ways. You know, I was in real estate for 20, 30 years more. And the same Cape Cod building, single-family residential house on West 36th Street, as opposed to East 35th Street, was $5,000 more on the west side. Same house, just the east side, west side. A lot of people think that our city ended at State Street. Back in the old days, Parade was the real State Street. But anyway, I digress. I'm getting carried away with it a little bit. I want to close with a great idea. I know it's really cold, but Saturday they play their first spring training games. You know, I'm all psyched for that one. That's for sure. It's going to be some real exciting ball players coming to Erie from the Tiger organization this year. Big-time ball players, and I can't wait to see them all right here with us. I think that's all I have. Boss, did I miss anything?
Yeah, thank you very much, sir.
Okay.
Councilman Nelson.
Yes, the only assignment that was due this week was that we had a water reserve meeting a week ago Monday, and so the water reserve is a fund that takes care of the capital expenses of the city. It's one of two funds that the state of Pennsylvania allows the city to invest in equities and stock market. So in the last 3 years, we have not taken any withdrawals from that account as a council, and instead we've taken it from other spots that we had surplus funds. So because of that, the fund has doubled in these 3 years. Historically, we've taken 4% a year out of it. It's usually been about 400, a little less than 500,000 a year. So when we reopen, when we run out of money from the other surpluses, and we have to start addressing capital from this fund again, we'll be at a spot where it'll be hopefully $1 million, or as long as the stock market doesn't take a dip. But really excited to get some of the updates on that. It has doubled in 3 years, which means our funds for capital expenses has doubled when we start taking money back out of it. So all good reports there. And that was my only assignment that was due this week. I'll be back next meeting with the Airport Authority meeting.
Thank you very much. Councilwoman Perez.
Thank you. I had two assignments. I had a meeting with the Blighted Property Review Committee, which happens the second Wednesday of every month. We went over the properties that they're adding to the blighted list, and then they rescinded 2, so that was nice to see the 2 that they have rescinded. If you don't pay attention to blighted properties, you don't get the opportunity to see the properties that are saved, and I always appreciate the saved properties. We have knocked down too many properties of value that I felt like could have been saved, and I'm happy to see that we're trying a new pathway forward with that opportunity of the current housing stock that we have. We also had a Erie Parking Authority meeting that I attended. I know that they ended up saving some money. I'm just getting introduced back into the regular meeting, so I hope to go forward and be more involved in a lot of their projects that they have going forward. I'm also the liaison for the Planning and Neighborhood Resource, so Jackie Spry and I have been in communication on the things that are going on, and we're trying to work better on making sure that we're not having meetings at the same time council meetings are happening, so that council members are able to attend some of the more community approach efforts that we're making in the community. And I just wanted to, also mention, like how Kathy did, Blasco Library is an asset for us, and with me working with individuals with intellectual disabilities on the day-to-day, I do see a number of community members who are unhoused, and on the days that they're closed for holidays like this past Monday, I wonder where people go and sit to be warm during the day. So I do agree we need something, and hopefully we can build it with community, relations, but I would love to see some type of fitness, warming center put together, maybe even an area where showers happen so people are able to shower. I know the Erie City Mission has given opportunity for women on Tuesdays to be able to get showered, and they have fresh, clean clothes, so that's nice that we're trying to address some of the issues that we see on the day-to-day. So I just wanted to mention that we reached over 100 inches of snow for the season, and between February 15th and March 15th is the coldest period for us. So stay warm, people, make sure we're covering up and keeping ourselves protected against the elements. That's all I have to report.
Thank you very much. Attorney Betts. Mr. Mayor.
Just to be real quick, we had the grand opening of Monticello Massage down at the Bayfront at 4th and Sassafras. It was very impressive. They've been in business for about 20 years, I think, but they've been in smaller locations. And the stuff they have there was very, very, very impressive. The Knockout Homelessness, we went to that last night at the Bayfront Convention Center. Some of you were there as well, and it was a neat experience, very nice to see. And the only other thing I want to mention is that this Saturday the police athletic ball takes place, and I'll be there and with a table for people from City Hall here. So, and that's it.
Mayor Schember, because this is my first, I went back this year, but do you find that it's more fun at the Knockout Homelessness when they're not punching you?
I have to say, probably honestly, I did enjoy being in the ring twice, because the guy was supposed to fight got sick the first time, so he said, will you come back next? So, but I'm glad to have it behind me now, and I enjoy going and watching it.
I was happy to not break my ribs this year, so it's much easier watching.
Yes.
Great. I had the opportunity of sitting in on the CDBG interviews of organization agencies that had applied for funding, and we could not make any commitment at this time simply because we don't know how much money we're going to get to distribute. But we listened to all the agencies, and they made some good pitches. But until we know what we're getting, we could not make a commitment to them. We did tell them that if we get less than what we ask for, then they would get less than what they're asking for, and they would have to redo their program based on the amount of money that they will receive. We're still at that state, and we're still waiting for its approval and allocations. I have nothing else. Anybody have anything final?
Mr. President,
Yes.
I'm sorry. So this weekend is the Winter Carnival at Perry Square, but there's also an art show exhibit from 1 till 3 p.m. at the Women's Club of Erie's Mansion on 6th and Myrtle, Saturday and Sunday from 1 till 3. So it's historic building, and so that's nice to be inside and look at the artwork while it's so close to the Winter Carnival. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If there's no more business, this meeting is adjourned.
City Council adjourns at 7:03 p.m. Members Witherspoon, Brzezinski, Flores, Nelson, Schaaf, and Troop.